I'm in Miami for UFC 314. Volkanovski's taking on Lopez for the vacant featherweight title. And in the co-main event, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett is stepping up to take on Michael Chandler. A little earlier on today, myself and my colleague from the Fight Disciples, Nick Peet, caught up with Paddy himself. Look at this, lad, eh? Miami, baby.
But nice, aren't we?
It's all right, isn't it? It's all right. Listen, we're going to talk fighting, but I want to start, actually, seeing as I've got you two together, I want to talk about Scousers in general. Because whenever I speak to...
Everyone wants to be a Scouser, well, let's be honest.
That's why they hate us, lad, because they ain't us.
That's it, they hate us because they ain't us, right. Indeed.
Well, this is where I want to get to. I want people to understand that pride. Because whenever I speak to him about it, he couldn't be more proud of being Scouse. When I speak to you, I get that same vibe. When I speak to Moll, I get that same vibe. And in fact, when I speak to any Scouser in general, and they speak about their city, they speak about Liverpool, they speak about representing it, now on a world stage, in your particular case, there is this overwhelming sense of pride of representation. Try and put it into words what it feels like being a Scouser on that world scene.
Well, we love representing, you know what I mean? We love putting our city on the map, and like I always say, we back our own. We support our own. Like, anyone from our city I want to see do well, anyone in any walk of life, any sport, any musician, anyone in business or anything like that, you always want to see them do well, because we're from a small area, a working class city, and as I say, we back our own, lad, and we'll back them to the hills. It's a bit tribal.
That's exactly what it is.
It is like its own principality, innit? When you get into Liverpool and you're around people, it feels like it is closed off.
Yeah, it does, because, as I say, other people sing songs like "We All Hate Scousers," know what I mean? You don't really get that with any other part of the UK. People try and look down on us, but it makes us even stronger.
What was the generation like before you in your family? Have you come from a sporting background? Is there people within the family that were doing certain things that maybe inspired you to take this path?
No one really inspired me, like, to be honest. My role model's my dad. Like, I always look up to my dad, take all his advice. But my uncle was a very good footballer. You know what I mean? My uncle played for Aston Villa first team when he was 16.
Did he?
Yeah, he smashed Kevin Keegan in his debut at Anfield. But
is that his thing?
Yeah, it was like, I've seen Peter Reid say in interviews the best footballer he ever played with was Frank Pimblett. And
wow.
I never really used to believe me dad when he'd say this. And until I seen interviews like that and read books about how good the Iton schoolboys and that way, then I believed him. But my dad always said his attitude got in the way, and his drinking and his partying and his womanising, you know what I mean? He would have been the best footballer of his generation if it weren't for that. And I nearly went down the same path, you know what I mean? When I was like 21 and I won that world title and I thought I was the bee's knees, I nearly went down the exact same path, lad, partying all the time and not listening to me coaches or my family and just being an idiot. So I'm glad I had that time on Cage Warriors, and it sorted me out, because I could have ended up like Frank, who rest in peace now, like, because he's died, but he ended up going over to Australia and being a legend for like Brisbane or something like that, and was just too good for that league. But no manager in England would touch him with a barge pole, because they heard about how bad his attitude was. And like, he ended up being mates with Ange Postecoglou and that, know what I mean? Yeah, but as I say, he could have been the best footballer that England's ever seen, and instead his attitude and his behaviour outside of the football pitch pushed them out the way of that. And I genuinely that could have happened to me. That's why I'm glad when I got them first 2 offers off the UFC when I was younger, I said no, because I know now even more, the fame of the UFC is tenfold of what it is on Cage Warriors.
Yeah.
And it got a little bit to my head when I won the Cage Warriors world title, and people started asking me for pictures in Liverpool and Manchester. So if I would have come to the UFC back then, I know for a fact I would have went like 3-6 and got cut. The fact that I've steadily and gradually built my career up the way I have has helped me tenfold.
What have you got around you then that helps you with that, dealing with fame? Because it's bloody hard, mate.
Yeah, it is. It's a mad one, like, you know what I mean? It's a double-edged sword, fame, because obviously it's brilliant getting paid more money and people recognising you and people looking up to you, but then at the same time you can't just go out and have a meal with your missus or go anywhere with your mates and without getting pestered. But for people around you, lad, keeping you grounded. Know what I mean? Like, my teammates are more like my family. All my mates who I have by my side now are my day ones who I've went to school with and been mates with since I was a young kid. Obviously, my wife, being my wife since I was 16. My family, like...
All that's a conscious choice, though. Because I've no doubt that...
At one point, At one point, when I was 21, 22, when I won that belt, I started, like, not speaking to my family as much. I was never in the gym as much. I was always out doing stupid shit. I'd only come into the gym when I actually had a fight coming up, and I was going out with other people that weren't my day ones that were just using me to get into nightclubs and stuff like that. So, as I say, without that little period where I'd done that on Cage Warriors and lost a couple of fights and realised who I actually am, I don't know if I'd be here today.
I think people have this misconception of you, that you love the limelight, you love to be, you know, a celebrity, you love all the attention, that you're the kind of fella that would splash out on a boat like this as soon as you could. But I know you differently. I know that's not you. I know you're not someone who's like, you know, going out there buying Ferraris and fucking looking for the limelight. In fact, you'd rather be hiding in the corner with your mates.
Yeah, that's not me, lad. I hate that word, celebrity. I hate it. Know what I mean? Like, I try and save me money as much as I can, to be honest, lad. You won't catch me going out and buying stupid, extravagant stuff. I don't like wasting money. I want to keep me money for me kids in the future. And, like, as I say, that word, celebrity, lad, I've said to my mates so many times, lad, if you ever hear me say to anyone that you know who I am, slap me across the face. I hate that word. Like, that sentence just drives me insane, lad. Doesn't matter who you are. Treat people with respect and be polite. Doesn't matter who you are or what position you're in. Just be a nice person.
Have you had any extravagances? Have you treated yourself to anything? Yeah, we'll have a sit down.
The only thing I've really treated myself to is watches.
Yeah?
Like, I bought this watch after a bonus, and I bought another watch after a bonus, but they're stuff that if I wanted to, I could sell it and get more money on it. It's an investment. You know, I bought a house and things like that. I don't buy things that I want to lose value on, because I don't see the point in it. Oh, you won't catch me going out and spending a ridiculous amount of money on something, but it'll just go to waste. Like, I don't go to nightclubs and start spending $6,000 on a bottle of vodka.
Or 140 grand on a meal. I've seen Conor McGregor posted that spent 140 grand on a meal.
He's got the money to do that though, and you know what I mean? He can do what he wants. I haven't. I've got to think about me
even
kids.
If you had Conor McGregor money, hopefully one day you get there, Pat.
Yeah.
I can't imagine you ever spending that.
No, I'd rather go to Casa d'Italia, lad, or Paul Petta. You know what I mean? Rather go with Scrangap by ours, yeah. Rather go to Maze Thai Kitchen or get a 60 kitchen in, you know what I mean?
At what stage of your life did you think, I've got something here, and this is what I want to do with my life, and this is where I want to keep going? Because I know as a kid, you were sagging off school, you were going to the gym, you were training, and that must have been causing murder with your mum back at home and everything else. But at what point did you go, man, you know what? I can make a success of this. I'm a UFC generation. I'm a kid who grew up watching UFC, knowing if I put the work in, I can get there.
Well, yeah, I never stayed off actual school, lad, to get my mum in trouble, but I can remember college. I remember getting kicked out of me Mars like a week before I fought Col Rigby, my biggest amateur title fight, because the college rang me mum saying I was missing classes where I was going to
You're going to the gym?
Yeah, I was going to the gym and training. Just doing A-levels, lad.
What in, can you remember?
History.
History A-level?
History, English, and I dropped one lesson to have less time in there, so I think it was citizenship, it was just an hour a week. So I only had 10 hours a week, but then obviously where I had a big fight coming up, I was missing bits of college, and they rang me mum and I got kicked out before me biggest amateur fight, and I can remember something similar happened again. I got kicked out before my first pro fight, and it's just one of them at the time. There was no money in MMA. Like, amateur, I was earning nothing, as you know, you don't get paid to fight amateur, and then I went pro, and my first 3 fights were for 500 quid. I went pro when I was 17. I can remember Paul having to convince me to carry on, because I said to Paul one day in the gym, was like, Paul, I can't earn enough money doing this, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna have to go and get a job, or you know, could have ended up on a very bad path, lad. I could have ended up grafting, lad, and fucking ended up in jail. But I needed Sutton and then Paul and Adam. Adam was next in line for the job in the gym, but when I said this to Paul, Adam said let him have my job. So I owe a lot to Ventry, you know what I mean? And I ended up working in the gym and doing privates with Paul, and that ended up making me even better. Yeah, they paid me some money.
You're understanding the moves better because you're teaching them.
And it made me even better. And as I say, without everyone around me, without my team, I wouldn't be where I am. That's why I always say, like, loyalty is a big part in this sport.
Yeah.
Like, I hate it when you see people fucking leaving the gym and going somewhere else. Like, oh, I couldn't get the training I got there, I need to go somewhere else. No, lad. Stay loyal to your team. Like,
win together, lose together, innit?
Yeah, win together, lose together. Know what I mean? That's like the highs and lows of this sport. I've said it on my vlogs the past couple of weeks. You know, we went to Cage Warriors and we went 4-0, and it was one of the best nights we've had. And then a week later, we went to UFC and we went 0-2, and Molly retired. Nathan got robbed. It was like one of the worst nights ever, lad. Like, but we win together, we lose together. We are a team, and you wouldn't catch me training anywhere else. Like, you just wouldn't see it.
When you were a kid then, you were talking about obviously skipping college in order to chase your dream. What's it like having conversations with family then? Because you've got the sport at the gym, they know how good you are. Yeah. But having a chat with your mum about it when there's no real career
your dad
path.
Always all in. I think most dads want their sons to be a professional athlete. Was he easier to convince than your mum?
I don't know. At first, my dad was saving up to send me on an underwater welding course.
Underwater welding?
Yeah, because like that, you get good money doing that.
Oh, yeah.
So my dad
you also get the bends if you're not careful, don't you? Going back to the surface.
My dad was saving up to get me to do that course, but I ended up saying, like, obviously I went 9-0 amateur. I was 17 and it was like, you've got nothing left to do at amateur, go pro. And then obviously my first few pro fights, as I say, I was fighting in fucking the Olympia, lad, that shithole. And I got, got 500 quid a fight, and then I got signed to Cage Warriors, so it was a bit more like, yeah, I can do something with this here. And then obviously ever since, my mum and my dad have always supported me at 100%. My dad's never missed a fight, apart from obviously the lockdown ones. My dad's been at every single fight I've ever had. He's in Miami now, you know what I mean? So I've had the full support of my family all the way through this. I can't say a bad word about my family, apart from getting kicked out when I was missing college.
Do you know that when you come to Cage Warriors then, that route, because Conor McGregor had done it before you. Conor McGregor had done to the Cage Warriors and then was gone to the UFC. Did it help for you to go, well, look, I'm on that path, basically?
Well, it was crazy because I had my Cage Warriors debut and Conor had just been signed. So Conor was there when I had my debut. He was in Philip Mulpeter's corner when he finished Warren Key. I'll never forget that night after it was the night Anderson Silva got knocked out by Chris Weidman. And I watched it with Conor.
Wow.
Conor, John Kavanagh, me, Adam, Danny Roberts, a couple of others, and Ian Dean was there. And I'll never forget Conor, after Anderson got beat, he's a big Anderson fan, I'll never forget him like leg kicking the wall. I was just thinking, laddie, he's fucking sick, him. I only knew of him at the time. I'd watched some of his highlights and stuff like that, but and then as I say, that was my debut that night, and then he had his UFC debut a couple of weeks later, against Primage. And as I said, never forget meeting him, never forget seeing him there. And it was mad because obviously he just blew up to a new stratosphere when he had his debut, and I felt like I had a similar trajectory. Like, I was in Cage Warriors for a long time, and then when I had my debut in the UFC, it just all went wild.
Has your focus and the driving factors of why you want to achieve certain things changed since becoming a dad?
Yeah, it definitely has. You know what I mean? It's defo. I personally haven't noticed it that much myself, but everyone around me said it. You know what I mean? I'm a lot more focused. People say I'm working a bit harder, but I've just got a lot more motivation, and I want to do this to provide for my family, you know what I mean? I need to give my daughters the future that they deserve, and I'm not going to do that by being half-assed and relying on my talent.
What's the best thing about being a dad?
Just seeing their little faces when they see it and they smile, lad. You know what I mean? Changing shitty nappies and that is no good, but Laura does 99% of that.
She's watching this going, wait a minute, how many?
Laura does 99% of that, but
that's important as well. Supportive partner, you know what I mean? With family life whilst you can go away and train and all that. All those things are massively important because we take that for granted, don't we? We see the fighter, we see the walk on the night, us as fans get excited about that. But there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes with supportive networks, and she's a massive part of that.
Yeah, massive part. She takes up a lot of slack when it comes to fight camp, like, you know what I mean? Some nights she even says, like, go and get a new other bed and stuff like that so I can have a good night's sleep. So it's the best mum in the world. Can't thank her enough for it.
Oh, fair play, man. Right.
Are you surprised how well you've taken to being a dad? Because I seen on the Embedded, your mum was like, he's never really had time for kids before. But now his own kids, he's all in.
I'm terrible with patience, like. I've shouted at my nieces and nephews a lot of times, you know what I mean? But probably comes with age, doesn't it? I'm 30 now, so and I've got kids, so I've got to be a bit more patient.
Come on, the girls, they've got you wrapped around your little finger, man. Come on.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're gonna have me wrapped around the little finger, I know they are.
When they're old enough, will you get them in a gi? Will you get them on the mats?
Yeah, definitely they're gonna be doing jiu-jitsu. Good. Best form of self-defence, so they'll definitely be doing jiu-jitsu.
Mega.
Listen, to finish off, obviously, the people's main event this Saturday night in the co-main event against Michael Chandler. How have you viewing this? Because when we speak about it, we speak on the wider scale of it. They see the magnitude of the fight. They see what could happen next. Obviously, it's important for you to just concentrate on the fight itself. But this feels like the moment, if that makes sense. Yeah,
it does feel like the moment. Like, obviously, I'm thinking of stuff in the future, but I'm not looking past Michael. Like, I've done that one fight before in my UFC career, and I nearly got beat. You know what I mean? When I fought Jared Gordon, I was already thinking, yeah, this win's in the bag. He's not got nothing on me. Fucking, I underestimated him, and I shouldn't have. Because every fighter in the UFC can fight. It's as simple as that. I hate it when I see online people saying, oh, he's washed, or he's a can, he's this and that. I was like, lad, he's in the UFC. If you're in the UFC, you're at the pinnacle of the sport.
You're one of the best in the world.
Yeah,
that's like, how you get here.
It's like playing in the Premier League, you know what I mean? You can't compare a Premier League player to like a League 2 player. It's like, it's crazy, lad, how people say, oh, he's a can, or he's shit, and he's this and he's that. When everyone who's in the UFC is a high-level fighter. But as I say, I underestimated Jared. I went into that fight thinking, yeah, he's getting steamrolled in a round. I then snapped my foot in the first round, lad, had a career-threatening injury and fought on with it for like 14 minutes. And obviously I got hated for that, like, because I thought I won. You know what I mean? And I've watched the fight back. It is a razor-close decision, but I still think to this day that I won. But it just gave me the most valuable lesson in the world to never overlook someone, never underestimate someone. And I'll be honest, I think Chandler's doing that with me. I think Chandler thinks that the same Paddy what fought Jared Gordon's coming in to fight him when I'm a completely different level now. Like, ever since that fight, I've had to level up anyway because I realised all the holes in my game. But then, since finding out Laura's pregnant, having the birth of my kids, they're nearly one now. All I've done is be in the gym every day and put the work in and grind, and people are going to see that come Saturday night when I finish Michael Chandler.
People were asking similar questions last summer ahead of the Bobby Green fight, saying this was going to be a step too far for you. That was one of your best performances of your career. That was pure Baddy.
Yeah.
Incredible leg kicks, jumps for the choke, turns it into something else. That was vintage.
Turns it into something else again.
Yeah, 3 different submissions, yeah. But that was vintage Paddy Pimblett. Are you at your peak right now?
Yeah, I don't even think I've peaked yet. Well, this fight camp though, I've come in, like, I've peaked at the very right time, know what I mean? I've done 10 rounds of pads last night, and it's Wednesday night. Like, I'm normally fucked now, thinking, oh, I've got to make weight, when at the minute I feel fresh, I feel boss. My weight's lower than it was when I started my cut last time. Everything's going well, know what I mean? But as you were saying there, people said about the Bobby Green fight, I perform better under pressure.
Yeah.
That Jared Gordon fight, everyone just expected me to come in and steamroll him, and I had the worst performance of my UFC career. This one is like the Bobby Green one. People are saying I'm going to get knocked out. People are saying this, people are saying that. And it just spurs me on more to prove all the idiots wrong, and I can't wait to do it.
When most fans watch UFC, the reason we love it so much is because 99.9% of humanity couldn't do what you do, obviously. No one, you walk into a cage in a pair of shorts and fighting someone semi-naked to try and knock them out, try and submit them is completely unnatural. How do you, as John Jones used to say, make the butterflies fly in formation? How do you not panic in that moment? How do you not get so nervous that you get crippled with anxiety?
Because he's dancing to
He comes
Scouse
out,
House
you're
on Liam,
dancing
that's
away,
why,
you're
mate.
loving it.
He's having a
Like,
rev.
What is it?
I've
What's in
always,
you?
my saying has always been, I've said it since I was an amateur, what's the point in being nervous when you know you're going to win? That's
You've
just,
done the work.
yeah, I've put all the hard work in. It's just a glorified spar. You know what I mean? I spar.
It's the show, innit?
Yeah,
You've
the
done the
show.
work, it's the show.
I've done all the work, it's just all about the show. It's just a glorified spar with someone you've never sparred with before. Like I spar twice a week with people just as good as Chandler, if not better than Chandler in our gym.
Yeah.
People are going to realise how good our gym is over the next few years when all the rest of the lads get signed and we've got about 8 fighters on the UFC roster. So,
Well, we're seeing that at the moment with fighting nerds, aren't we? And I feel like next gen is not far away, because
Mate.
when you look at those mats, they are ridiculous.
yeah, and like
Shem, Luke Riley, all those guys, it's insane.
Cullen, Gittins,
Yeah, it's
the amount,
mad.
and George Staines, the amount of people that are gonna get signed out of the gym. Lad, it's coming, you know what I mean? And I can't wait for it, because it's gonna be spectacular when everyone's getting the flowers, you know what I mean? Everyone's getting what they deserve, everyone's talking about them, getting big fights on the UFC, and the amount of people that are joining our gym now from other gyms and coming down because they realise how good the training is in our gym. It's what we always knew, you know what I mean? And it's nice to see everyone else is finally starting to get onto it.
Well, thanks for allowing us to be on the journey. And thanks for getting us to Miami, mate, because this sunshine's beautiful.
You need to get this jacket off, lad.